You keep replaying every message, every date, every tiny moment, trying to figure out what you did wrong. You're scrolling back through the text messages, overanalyzing every emoji, every delay in their replies, asking yourself, was I too much? Did I say something wrong? Did I come on strong? Am I just not enough? But I want you to consider something. What if their silence is not a verdict of your worth? It's a confession just about them. They watched your story and didn't reply. They said, I'm just bad at texting, and then they just disappear. They told you they weren't ready for anything serious, and now they're already posting someone new like you never even existed. That kind of behavior doesn't come from emotional maturity. Actually, it comes from insecurity, avoidance, and a complete inability to deal with their own discomfort. So, in this video, I'm going to break down the psychological behind ghosting that no one explains properly, and why their silence is usually about their fear, their envy, and their emotional competence, not your value. And more importantly, how to stop letting one person's inability to show up becomes proof that you're unlovable. If you've been ghosted and you feel like you're losing your mind trying to make sense of it, you're not crazy. Let's talk about what's actually going on. Most of you imagine the ghoster as the cold, calculated villain sitting there like, yeah, I'm just going to disappear and ruin their entire week. That's almost what never happens. What you're dealing with is an adult body with a conflict-avoiding, emotional, freaked-out teenager running the show. Ghosting is not a power move, it's an avoidance move. Their silence isn't about a statement. Their silence isn't a statement about your worth. It's a statement about your capacity. So I want to give you a way to actually see what's going on instead of just attacking yourself. I call this the 4 insecurities of a ghoster. When someone vanishes instead of communication, it's usually a mix of fear of rejection, fear of intimacy, envy of inferiority, and avoidant attachment. Once you understand these, you stop asking, why wasn't I enough? And you start asking, why am I blaming myself for someone who never learned how to stay? The first is fear of rejection. A lot of ghosters are running a script. Everyone says, everyone leaves eventually. I just need to get out of there first. So it looks like this. Things are going well, you're connecting, you're vulnerable, and that is exactly what their anxiety spikes. They start thinking, what if they get bored of me? What if they see the real me and leave? What if I like them more than they like me? Instead of saying, hey, I'm scared, they do one thing they know how to do, disappear. Ghosting becomes a preemptive breakup. I'll leave you before you leave me. But you notice something. That whole story lives in their head. It's based on their past, their wounds, their assumptions. You don't cause that. You just walk close enough to activate it. The second hidden insecurity is fear and intimacy. Real intimacy is not just fun dates and chemistry. It's being seen, it's being known, and it's being accountable. If someone is used as surface level connections, hookups, talking stages, DMs that never go anywhere, then the moment that things start to feel real, their nervous system goes danger. You open up, you talk about your feelings, you ask things where they are. From your side, that's healthy emotional communication. But from their side, it feels like, oh no, I actually matter to this person. That means I could actually hurt them. That means I could actually get hurt. If they never learn how to have uncomfortable conversations, ghosting becomes the escape hatch. But it's easier to vanish than to say, I'm not ready. I like you, but I can't give you what you want. I'm scared of this level of closeness. Again, this is about their ability to tolerate intimacy, not your desirability. If this isn't a little too close to home right now, if you're still checking your phone, still wondering if they'll ever come back around, I want to give you something that actually helps in the next 24 hours, not just a pep talk. I created something called the Ghosting Reset. It's completely free. Inside, I'll walk you through how to stop the mental spiral, stop the late night social media stalking, and start getting your nervous system out of survival mode after being ghosted. You'll see a link down below in the description. And if you already know this hits you deeper, you can feel that ghosting crack somewhere in your self-worth and you don't want to keep repeating this pattern. I built the step-by-step program called the Ghosting Recovery Blueprint. That is where I help you move on from why wasn't I enough for them to why am I still giving access to people who can't even communicate. You'll find that link under the description down below. Take what you need, the free reset, the deeper blueprint, and then come right back because I want to show you something, how their behavior is actually revealing their insecurity, not their failure. The third insecurity is envy and inferiority. Now this one can be a little sneaky. Sometimes they're not just intimidated by your feelings, they're actually intimidated by your stability. Maybe you're more emotionally aware, maybe you're more put together in your career, maybe you actually know how to communicate like an actual adult. To someone who feels behind, that can trigger a lot of shame. And instead of thinking, wow, I could actually grow with this person, they think I can't keep up, they're out of my league, they're going to realize they can do better. So they ghost to escape the mirror. They're not just avoiding you, they're avoiding the version of themselves they see when they're with you. From your side, it feels like I wasn't enough. From from their side, it often feels like I'll never be enough for them. Same situation, completely different story. And the fourth hidden insecurity is avoidant attachment. If someone grew up in an environment where closeness is felt unsafe, inconsistent, or overwhelming, their brain wires distance as safety. So when things get close, they don't feel calm, they feel trapped. That might look like pulling away right after a vulnerable conversation, disappearing after a really good date, going cold after you express what you really want. Avoidant people aren't sitting there thinking, how can I hurt you? They're thinking, how do I get back to what feels familiar? And unfortunately, what feels familiar is emotional distance. Again, this is their pattern, their history, and their rewiring. You did not create their attachment style by being too loving or too interested. So let's put this together. When someone ghosts you, it could be any mix of fear that you'll reject them, fear of real intimacy, shame and inferiority, and avoidant attachment. Notice what's missing from that list? You're unlovable, you're boring, you're not enough. Ghosting does not mean you should never be that vulnerable again. You should shrink to yourself to the bottom to be chosen. You have to become less emotional, less honest, and less you. What it usually means is they couldn't handle their own discomfort. They chose silence over courage. You just got a very loud piece of information about their capacity. I want you to try something after this video. Take one person who ghosted you, one situation that still hurts, and write this sentence. They ghosted because blank, and that says blank about them, not me. So fill in the blanks, what you now know. They ghosted because they were scared of intimacy, and that says they weren't ready for that kind of connection I wanted, not that I was too much. They ghosted because they felt inferior and didn't know how to say it, and that says they didn't have the emotional tools, not that I was unworthy. That's how you start taking the weight off your chest and putting it back to where it belongs, on their limitations, not your value. So here's where I want to leave you. You not get to decide who ghosts you. People are going to show you their capacity or the lack of it, whether you were ready for it or not. But you do get to decide what story you tell yourself about their silence. You can make it mean, I'm not lovable, I was never too much, I'll never find someone who stays. Or you can make it mean they don't have the emotional skills, the self-awareness, or the courage to handle that kind of connection I'm actually built for. One of those destroys self-trust, the other one protects it. If you want help actually shifting that story, not just in your head for 5 minutes, but in your body, in your habits, and in the people you choose next, I left 2 things for you below. The first is the free ghosting reset room. That is your emergency brake. Use it if you feel stuck in a loop and you need a reset now. The second, the ghosting recovery blueprint. That's for you if you're ready to start making ghosting the pattern of your life and start rebuilding your standards, your boundaries, and your confidence from the ground up. You are not broken, you are not too much. Their silence is a mirror of their limitations, not proof of yours. If this helped, hit that subscribe button so you don't have to figure this out alone. And that one, I'll see you in the next one.